Hello and welcome back to Expedition Builds. We're here in beautiful Moab, Utah this week for Easter Jeep Safari, and we brought along with us a Rivian R1T. We've been out taking pictures of the R1T and testing it, getting to know it. The R1T features 835 horsepower, 908 foot-pounds of torque. The beast will tow 11,000 pounds, and here's the best part, does 0 to 60 in 3 seconds flat for a 7,000 pound vehicle. It's just amazing. We've had it in all kinds of environments, you guys. We've had it high speed on the interstates. We've been off-road with it. It's on a pneumatic suspension, so you can raise it up to 15 inches. The bottom is perfectly flat. It's like they skid plated the whole thing, so nothing to get hung up on. Very impressed with the suspension off-road, by the way. So anyways, the configuration on this truck is the quad motor. It features a standard battery pack, which is good for up to 315 miles. So that's enough of me talking. Let's jump in and take a look. I'll show you some of the features of this thing, and you can get to know it a little better. Let's get started. All right, let's take a closer look at the Rivian R1T. Rivian was started back in 2009. Here's a couple of things of note. The Director of Engineering, Mark Vinnels, came from McLaren, and Jeff Hammond, the Vice President of Design, was a veteran of Jeep, where he oversaw the Grand Cherokee and the Wrangler. I think it's fair to say we can call this an adventure vehicle, designed with a clean slate and from the ground up. Alright, let's start with the interior of the Rivian R1T. I would say it exhibits a Range Rover aesthetic, rugged, capable, and luxurious, and it's packed with the latest high-tech amenities. I found the interior of the R1T to be constructed out of premium materials and exhibiting a very high-quality build standard. The truck will seat 5, has 62 cubic feet of storage space, 4 120-volt outlets, and 6 USB-C outlets. And how's this for cool? A portable boombox, ready for your campsite or beach party. Located on the edge of the driver's door, you'll find this 1,000-lumen flashlight, known as the Rivian torch. Nice, thoughtful touch. Now let's turn our attention to the exterior of the R1T. I think the truck overall exhibits a strong, muscular attitude. The front headlights were a little bit polarizing to me at first, but they really grew on me. Our truck was equipped with a power tonneau cover over the bed. To open it, just simply hit this switch. The second part of this switch operates the tailgate. Located a little bit further up the bed is this switch, which unlocks the doors for the gear tunnel. This was one of my favorite aspects of this truck. The gear tunnel gives you a place to sit on both sides and storage for longer gear. Plus, it's lockable and weather tight. Fantastic. And 2 more very cool modern touches. And when it comes time to charge your Rivian, the charger door is located here. Wow, okay. I have to say that felt pretty futuristic. Rivian recently signed an agreement with Tesla to use their superchargers. Those should be available spring of 2024. Now, let's take a closer look at the exterior lighting. As I mentioned earlier, the lighting signature on the front really grew on me after I spent some time with the vehicle. And it's cool to see what the engineers did. The center light bar pulsates green when you're charging, giving the vehicle a little bit more of that interactive personality. We found the stock lighting worked very well in the off-road environment. All right, next let's jump into what I call driver interface. This is an area I think Rivian did a great job engineering, giving you lots of options to tune the vehicle, but keeping it simple and very straightforward. You'll see me running through some of the menus and get an idea of how you can tune things and set the vehicle up. Of the different drive modes, there's Sport, Conserve, Snow, Off-Road, and Towing. Within the drive modes, you can find sub-menus which allow you to further fine-tune the characteristics of the truck. These include spring settings, soft, stiff, firm, ride height, brake regen, torque vectoring, etc. As you can see here, all terrain includes soft sand, rock crawl, rally, and drift. While in towing mode, the air suspension features a self-leveling capability based on load. The independent air suspension allows for over 6 inches of vertical adjustment, allowing for 15 inches of ground clearance. Now, as I dial the truck in for off-road mode, let's take a look at the suspension doing its work. Ready for the off-road. When you're done with your off-road adventure, let's lower the truck back down on Sport and make some time getting back into town. Switching to Sport mode not only lowers the truck but firms up the dampeners. With that 7,000 pound low center of gravity, you swear you're not driving a truck. It feels more like a sports car now. And here's another really cool aspect of that Rivian air suspension: self-leveling mode. Let's say you've got a rooftop tent on your truck. Being able to level it off in rough terrain makes for a much better night's sleep. Releasing the full 835 horsepower and 908 foot-pounds of torque is a mind-warping experience. Full launch pins you back in your seat and makes it difficult to keep your chin down. And as you can see, induces lots of laughter. Oh! Alright, here's some final thoughts as we wrap up this review of the Rivian R1T. And I'm going to come at this from the perspective of a Jeep owner. I have a 2020 Recon. That is my daily driver. It's highly modified. We do off-road, we do crawl, we do overland in it. So that's kind of my perspective of how I use my vehicle. Now, I've shown you what the Rivian R1T is about. I've shown you the performance of an all battery setup. Without a doubt, the performance on that machine is amazing. And what I absolutely loved about it was the way that we could tailor it to whatever we were doing. Slam it down on the road, tighten up the suspension, put it in sport mode, and it handles like a sports car. It'll tow 11,000 pounds, right? It will do 0 to 60 in 3 seconds, something crazy, which is hard to show in a video. That kind of acceleration, that kind of quick hookup that happens from electric motors is a whole different sensation than what we get with the internal combustion engine drivetrain. A lot of fun, and I think in the off-road environment specifically, the instant torque and the application of electric motors in the off-road environment will be absolutely the next level for us. I think the engineers will be able to dial in, especially let's say if Jeep went to a electric motors front and rear where we could proportion that output. I've got the perfect crawl machine then. And you know, talking about Jeep, they've already shown us. Let's see what we're looking at for the future now, as we kind of take this kind of a holistic approach to the next steps of the evolution of these things. They showed us the Magneto in 3 versions now. I think this last iteration was pushing over 800 horsepower. The performance numbers on it were just nuts. So we know that Jeep is testing it. I think that the next Wrangler, whatever iteration that will be able to more fully integrate a bigger battery setup, which will allow for bigger range. And that's kind of my knock right now with the 4xe. I know it's a nice step in that direction with a hybrid, but 20 miles, 21 miles, whatever Jeep claims that it will roll on pure electric, just isn't enough. It's kind of feels more like a novelty to me, because after that I've got to carry that battery weight around and push that with my, you know, turbo 2-cylinder. So, you know, that's not, to me, that's not the ultimate destination, what I really want to see performance-wise. I think it's a step in the right direction, but we're not there yet. All right, so we just talked a little bit about the 4xe and my thoughts on that. So let's jump back to just a full EV platform now, like we're seeing on the Rivian. We know that Jeep is going to release in next year, 2024. We're supposed to see the Rubicon, or the Recon model, which is an all-electric Jeep. We've only seen some sketches of it. We haven't really got a close look at what they're doing for the drivetrain. So I think that's going to be interesting to show us Jeep's way forward into what they consider something to be, you know, an all-electric off-road capable machine. It's not going to replace the Wrangler, but I think it's going to show us a lot of the technical way forward that Jeep wants to do with the next Wrangler. So that's certainly going to be interesting. You know, let's talk about a little bit about the experience of running a full EV. So one of my boys has a Tesla, so I'm familiar with the performance of that. Again, the performance can be just maddening. However, to me and for me, range anxiety is a real concern, and here's why. You know, I told you early on that I use my Jeep in an off-road environment. Sometimes we're off the grids. I do a lot of interstate, so having to build my trips around charger stations and that sort of thing right now just does not fit my lifestyle at all. And personally, I wouldn't own a Jeep Wrangler if I was just using it in town. You know, I'm not that kind of person who just wants to go just have the look of the vehicle. I really want to use its capabilities. So again, I'm looking for the next generation hybrid that would give me extended range of an electric. Let's say 200 miles, 150 to 200 would be superb. Give me a gas motor backup, a small turbo, and give me the ability like we're seeing on the 4xe, where we can combine the electric and the gas and boost our performance up big time. So looking forward to that. Back to range anxiety, I didn't really finish out that thought. So we left Salt Lake with this Rivian on our way to Moab to do some of the photo work with it and get it off-road. And that required us to stop in Green River at a charge station. First of all, it was a Charge America station, which is, you know, what you're going to probably find in the near term before Stellantis starts building more of their own. It worked fine. However, and I'll show you some footage of this while I'm talking about it, you know, it took us a little while to locate this place. It wasn't that obvious. It was on the end of a cafe that was closed. It was not covered. The first part of the charge, it was raining and sleeting, so, you know, you're standing out there. We saw some premium vehicles pull in at the same time, and I couldn't help but think, man, I see this guy with a $160,000 Porsche standing in the rain trying to get a hookup for his electric charge, and thinking, this doesn't, to me, really coincide, doesn't jive very well with what these brands are about, right? So I think the electrics are definitely our future, but I really feel like in the next 5 years we need a really great hybrid system. And like I said, I'm hoping that that we see that on the next Jeep iteration of the Wrangler. I'm also, you know, I think we're going to see that on this new Tacoma pickup that comes out in 24. Everything I've read about that platform looks like Toyota's got a pretty good hybrid system figured out that fits more of what we're doing in the off-road community, at least what I'm doing with my Jeep. So anyways, I'm rambling on a little bit now, but that's kind of my musings. I want to see electrics taken a lot further in the Jeep platform. I want them to keep this 2-liter turbo paired with this system. I think it would make just a fantastic hybrid system. So I hope you guys have enjoyed this review. It's been really great putting it together, and especially getting a chance, a week in this Rivian, to see what this electrics are all about, and to see how these guys, you know, from a clean slate, ground up perspective, were able to design such an amazing vehicle. So one last thought. Here's another one. I think it has a place in the future for us Jeep owners. And Jeep showed this a little bit at EJS this year, where they had a couple of concept vehicles on, I think it was AccuAir's air suspension. And to me, that was showing me that they're seriously taking a look at possibly running an active air suspension like they have on the Rivian, which I think would be, again, I think it would be superb, because having that on the fly adjustability, when I'm out on the interstate, I can lower it, get better aero going. Off-road, I can max the thing out. So that might be another thing that the future holds for us Jeepers and people who like to play in the off-road environment. So anyways, that's my final thoughts on this thing. I hope you've enjoyed the review. We had a lot of fun putting it together. Super excited about what the future holds for us as the engineers, once again, lead the way forward by knocking down all the barriers. So this is going to be fun. Stay tuned. We'll see you soon for more great content. Until then, be safe, and we'll see you on the trails.